All right. Our final head coach here on the MVC Baseball Preview Show is Valparaiso head coach Brian Schmack. Looking forward to chatting with him, hearing a little bit about his team ahead of 2025. So let's go ahead and do that, Coach. Appreciate you joining us this morning. And what has you excited about your team as we're now just a little less than 2 weeks away?
Uh, it's a ton of new guys, right? I mean, we had kind of a lineup that was the same for the last 3 or 4 years, and there's a lot of new guys that are, having to step up and take roles. So I'm excited to see these new guys kind of step in and see where they're at. They've shown good things, and I think a word you'll hear from me probably quite a bit is consistency, right? I think we've got guys that can do some pretty good things, but can they do it consistently? And that's what we're going to find out.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of a double-edged sword. You always want to have the experience, but on the other hand, kind of that situation where you have a lot of new guys can create a little bit of a different energy, right, in the program. And so, how much has that been a part of what has you and the staff excited is just kind of, new guys that are hungry and ready to prove themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We went in day one and said, listen, nobody has a spot, right? And I think sometimes guys get comfortable when they have spots, which is a good thing. You want them to feel comfortable, but I think it can also be bad, right? Because maybe they slack a little bit. And not saying our guys did that, but I think when you say, listen, everyone's competing right from the rip, the fall becomes a lot more competitive, and that's what we saw.
On the mound, I want to talk a little bit about Connor Lockwood as a guy who coming into his own. What makes him an effective workhorse for you guys that can lead the rotation?
Yeah, he wants the ball. Last year coming off Tommy John, he was pitching in a game 10 months, right? And
Mm.
we kind of rode him pretty hard, and he kind of tailed off at the end there, understandably. So he took a little time off this summer and came back, and he's hungry, right? He just wants to be. He wants to prove he's the leader of the staff, and he throws strikes, he competes well, and he's got this uncanny ability to just make adjustments on the fly, and I think that's huge. Hey, we'll try a cutter. Hey, let's try to change your slider a little bit, and he's able to do that. And that pitchability, I think, is what's going to hopefully separate him this year.
Then around him on the mound, how important are guys like, Guazo and Foley, guys who have been around kind of filling in and taking a step to bolster that pitching staff?
Yeah, and those are the guys you're leaning on, right? I mean, they were able to compete last year as freshmen, and they're not freshmen anymore. Now we're kind of relying on them to be weekend guys, right, and to step up and take that ball. So if you can get those three guys to give you depth on the weekend, you feel good about your chances going into the late innings every single game.
Do you have a feel for the identity of your lineup yet and what you guys are going to do well?
That's funny. A feel, yeah. I think we're trying to be a little bit more well-rounded, right? I think last year maybe we, relied a little bit on the home run, which sounds crazy, but I think this year we're going to play a little bit more team ball, a little bit more small ball, try to create instead of let it happen. That's what we've been striving for all fall, and I think guys are excited about that as well because you don't necessarily have to, hit the ball 110 miles an hour to get in the lineup, right? Just make contact, put it in play, do certain things to help the team out, and guys are excited about that.
What do you feel like has to happen for this team to reach its ceiling, whatever that ceiling is? What do you feel like has to go right for you guys to get there?
Yeah, like probably everybody said, I haven't heard any, but depth from the starting pitchers. I mean, we've got to be able to get some of that. If you start getting pretty deep on the weekend, it's just not a recipe for success, right? And part of our Achilles heel has always been depth, right? I mean, we don't have the just the way the school's laid out, right? It's a private school, it's expensive. We have some, I think, top end guys, but I think it gets pretty thin sometimes. So, maybe strength in numbers. I think we have this year. I think there's a lot of guys that can't contribute. We're trying to figure out what roles, but if the starters don't give us those early innings, then we may be in trouble.
Coach, good luck this spring. Continued good health as you head into the 2025 season. Looking forward to seeing your team on the field this spring.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach, take care. All right, that is going to do it for this MVC Baseball Preview Show presented by Credit Union One. Again, a huge thank you to Credit Union One for being on board and sponsoring this and all of our video content for MVC Baseball this season. Very, very grateful for that partnership with our friends there. Looking forward to seeing the 2025 MVC Baseball season. I can guarantee you it's going to be exciting. Feels a little more wide open, maybe, than it's been the last several years. So looking forward to seeing that race and then seeing how things play out at Duffy Bass Field in May for the conference tournament. Obviously, a long time between now and then. We'll have plenty of stuff to talk about throughout the season, but I'll be here leading you through it as we get ready for another postseason run where just about guaranteed there'll be at least a couple teams in the mix trying to play June baseball. That's it for us today. So long, everybody.